Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 10 of the NFP podcast presented by 3D Entertainment. The NFP podcast is brought to you by Sneaky Weasel Lager and Hey Y'all Southern Iced Tea, the official alcohol sponsor of the show. How's it going, everybody? We're pumped to be back. Another week, another episode. 10. What a good number. What a big number. Once again today, Jason Davidson with me. Jason, how you doing?
Excellent. Number 10, eh?
10, bro.
Number 10, Braden Shen. We maybe should have saved that one for Braden Shen. Hockey numbers for episode numbers.
Yeah.
Might have to keep that in mind down the road, eh?
Yeah, I do. I like that.
So number 11, do we get the Moose, Mark Messier?
Yeah, probably.
I was number 11.
I was going to say, I was 11 too, man.
There we go.
Double hockey six, boys. Look out. Once again, joined by our friend, Mr. Scott Byrne. Scott, how are you doing?
I'm good, guys. Good to see you again. I had to take a little hiatus there on episode 9. Listen to it, though. It was awesome. You
like that one?
Even though I wasn't there, it was awesome. No, I'm just shitting you. No, it was good. It was good to listen to. Just got a little busy last week, so I had to take a time out from the NFB podcast.
Oh, that'll happen. Things are busy. Trying to keep things afloat during COVID. You got to do what you got to do. I understand.
That's right. We've resorted to Tiger Torch and picking bottles, just melting snow. Melting snow.
Yeah, that's right. It was
Are you trying to get an endorsement with Wrangler today, Scott? I see you're deckled right up.
I'm shooting for it. A guy can dream, and if I can make the Wrangler team one of these years, I'm going to be one happy motherfucker. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, fucking right. There we go. JB's was good, boys. So I had a lot of good feedback on that one. I mean, it's pretty hard not to when you're chatting with the greatest probably that there's ever been. So people enjoyed that one. He was a fucking great guest. Lots of good stories. Doesn't give a shit. There needs to be more people like him in the world, really.
I gotta say, I've had more people text me and comment, not only on the podcast, but especially that one.
Yeah, I agree.
People didn't realize just how much of his give a fuck is busted. He lives by his sword, and you said it. There's a lot more people got to be like, yeah, exactly.
I was trying to remember who was with us when we were sitting at the Mandalay Bay and JB was over having a smoke and a Michelob Ultra that morning.
Yeah.
So my brother-in-law, Dean, texted, that was me. Because I'm the one, isn't that JB? And I'm like, sorry, buddy, I wish I'd have known. I didn't mean to ghost you on who it was, but I couldn't remember,
Oh, yeah.
Those Vegas trips, especially Sunday, Championship Sunday, it's tough to remember everything that went on.
Yeah, and Saturday, and Friday, and Thursday.
From start to finish.
Yeah, exactly. Who are we kidding here?
Yeah. Well, one guy that will be making a trip, hopefully to Las Vegas, if everything goes as planned and the PBR World Finals are back to where they normally are at T-Mobile Arena, Colten Fritzlan wins his first ever event on the Unleash the Beast series. His premier event, his first ever event, takes the title, joins the likes of Justin McBride, Silvano Alves, some of the best names in the world. There's only been 10 guys to ever win their first ever event. Colten jumps out this weekend in Okeechobee, Florida, and takes the lead.
How old is that young fella?
Colten is 20 years old, and he's originally from Colorado. And I heard him say in one of his interviews that he moved down to Stephenville in the Texas area. And that's when he got more serious into it, I think, got to ride more bulls and, just doing it every day type of thing. But I do know he's a product of the Cody Lostro, Gary LeFew. Gary actually had a post today of Colten when he was young at his ranch training with Gary, and it was in the snow. He had a hoodie on, and he was the only guy there. And talking about how he doesn't judge guys, and Gary's seen them all from Sage Kimsey to Lostro to there's too many to name the people that have went through his ranch and learned kind of from him. And he was saying that he can tell a lot of by their attitude, by their heart and their will to do what it takes to get to the top. And he said that this kid's going to be the next. And from what I've seen this weekend and from what I've seen at the NFR of him winning the aggregate there at such a young age, I think it's going to be kind of like when you've seen, Lockwood or Cooper Davis come onto the scene. It's a new guy that you don't really know much about, and by about 4 or 5 events, you really know who it is. And within a couple of years, you're going to see a gold buckle on his belt.
Yeah, I agree. I liked him at the NFR. I thought he was, those kids you never hear of, and just like that's a feat, winning that average at the NFR. That's a feather in the cowboy hat. So, and then like you said, win the first one. Like that's got to feel good. We remember when you won your first one. Could you imagine if it was your first Built Ford Tough? Like that would have been the money.
I didn't make it out of the buck and shoots my first event. Fucking wiped me out twice pretty quick. I didn't get on my second one though. I won at my second event. I won second, and I went on a hot roll and won second at a couple of the ones that I went to. The first like 3 I went to, and then ended up getting on Long John in Albuquerque when nobody really knew who Long John was, and did he fucking wipe me out? And, Long John, yeah. So I had a lot of confidence from doing good, and once you get on a roll, bull riding is all about momentum, right? So like a kid like that wins the first one, it's just going to give him the confidence that that's exactly where he belongs, and he can take on anything. He rode 0 time, which was the bull of the event last weekend. So it wasn't like they just gave it to him and everybody fell off. Cooper ended up riding right after him, but then wasn't enough points to take over the lead. So he went it with authority and did it the way you want to do it.
I wonder if we see him in Rapid City this weekend, or will he be? Where's this weekend? Are they in Texas?
Weekend off. There's no
okay.
PBRs
so
this weekend.
Yeah.
From what I heard, he said he was going to do both off the hop and see where he was at about halfway through the year, and then focus specifically on one or the other. But I think this will, I don't fucking know, probably pop top 5.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll probably be there
early for sure.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you're going to see him. And I read it in an interview or listened to him on one of his interviews, and he was talking that Lostro and those guys told him that if he wanted to make the NFR, to do it off the hop, get that out of the way, and then go to the PBR side of it. So he did that obviously last year, and as a 20 or 19-year-old, and now 20 coming into the game. And I think you'll see him as a mainstay on the PBR tour. But this year's a bit different. Like last year, there won't be a whole bunch of events, so you might see lots of guys at both events just trying to go as much as they can.
Well, and I think this is a year that they can get away with it a little bit.
Fuck yeah.
Like last year too. There was just the numbers weren't there. Canadians not getting across the border. So not a bad idea. Hey, we got to get Lostro on.
Yeah, that guy's a legend.
That's a good guy.
Yeah.
Just a solid dude.
Yeah. And one of the best ever as well. Like,
yeah,
he was very underestimated in my opinion.
Yeah,
he won a world title, but he wasn't talked about. He wasn't in the limelight. He just kind of did his thing, was quiet, but yeah, a fucking legend and one of the best that there's ever been.
You said it. He was quiet. He just let his actions do all the talking for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
He surely did. He didn't when he did really good as he did. He just never really commanded much attention, right? He just
he just
did it.
He just stuck to his business.
Yep. Rode him the best he could. So Colten with that win won $23,900 and some odd dollars, which I thought was a little bit different, showing the financial changes that are kind of happening within all the sport. Normally those event wins are 35 to 40,000. So you can see the kind of what's happening there with cutbacks and with what COVID's kind of doing to the sport.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't want to get the cart ahead of the horse, but we're looking at the same, here. Well, first of all, we should probably try and get some vaccines. Apparently we forgot to order them.
What out of those?
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started.
Well,
don't get me started.
That's like the CEO of McDonald's forgetting to order the cheese once a week. How do you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beyond. And get away with it, right? Just, we're going to try harder, and we'll have some by July. And
you guys, I've said this a couple times. What we're seeing right now in politics and even that millennial or that age 22 to 30 participation ribbons should have never been given out, because this is what you're getting right now.
Yeah.
It's a different world, man. Yeah. But hopefully we can get through that and fucking on to the next one. Another, well, we talked about this before, but Cooper Davis just looks totally unreal this year. He's fucking man on a mission,
Did
sticking
I
it
call
on
him to
everything.
win?
No,
Did I call him to win?
No, you fucking didn't you pick Lockwood and he got wiped out the first event?
Oh, right. Who'd you pick?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wiped out the first event.
I can't remember who I picked. Lemme.
And then Scott picked one that isn't even going yet.
None of our fucking guys are even going, but
we should redo our picks now and do a consolation prize.
Yeah, we could. Well, Cooper's a good pick. Cole Melanson, I was going to get to him next. He's won 3 rounds this year, which it all goes back on the world champion at the end of the year. Flesko always goes back on the stats, and it's usually whoever's winning the most rounds is the one who ends up winning the whole kit and kabang. So he's doing that, and they're saying that it's a bit different because your normal round winners like Lemme and Lockwood are out right now. So it's opening up for, I think there's been 10 or 11 different round winners, which you don't normally see. Right. So it's giving lots of guys an opportunity to get ahead. But we both said it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So once those guys get back, I'm sure they'll get on a tear, but I wouldn't want to give Cooper Davis too much of a head start.
No, you got to, you talk about that runway on to the finish line. I was just thinking about that more after our last pod with JB. What he did that year was incredible, winning all those events right at the end and then going in, riding all his bulls. Like, you talk about record books and, stories around the campfire. That's who we'll be talking about for decades right there.
Exactly. And that's the thing, whether, he's kind of that guy with the no give a fuck attitude. So half the people love him, half the people hate him, but you fucking respect what he did in the arena, and you're going to want to listen and see what he has to say because he is a legend.
Okay, back to my participation ribbons. That's the guys that are on the hating side of JB. So,
and the best part about JB is he doesn't care if you love him or you hate him. So here we go. And on that note, you just wanted to repick for a consolation. There's no fucking
what the
participation
you just said
medal, you dick.
Now we resorted to calling names.
Yeah, I agree though. I didn't even pick up on that, Scott. That's a good
one. Okay, then don't call it. Okay, you're right. Second place is the first loser.
Yeah,
right.
Fucking right, man. None of that bullshit.
We'll just pretend that was never mentioned.
Sorry, I called you a dick. We'll edit that out, maybe.
No,
Adder ain't editing
that. That's legend. With also Cooper Davis with this weekend, he ended up second. He rode Speed Demon for the 5th or 6th time. Kind of hung off the side at the end, so he was a lower scorer. But went second at the event. Still moved him into number 1 in the world, and he passed the $3 million mark in earnings, which is pretty phenomenal. You got to tip your hat to that. Show respect for a guy that's able to do that.
How old's Cooper?
Same age as me, I think, or you're younger than me. 27, probably. Cooper is.
Yeah. So he's in the height of his career. He needs to be winning here these next 3 years too, doesn't he?
Yep. And he also rode Ridin Solo, which is my pick for bull of the year, for 91 1/4. But if you watch the video, the bull kind of got caught up in the chutes, bounced off the buck and chutes, then ended up kind of sailing out there a little ways, but still 91 1/4 when he didn't even turn back until probably 5 or 6 seconds. So Cooper did everything he could with him, but then he came back the next day. Then he came back the next day, fucking lit it up again, 45'd him. So he's right there. Him and Smooth Operator are tied right now for bull of the year.
What's that? What did you say? No, Tanner, say that again.
Smooth Operator, the old man.
That's right.
I hate to fucking burst your bubble on this one, Scott, but after seeing him this weekend and the weekend before, he got rode back-to-back weekends. Great rides. There's no fucking taking it away from that. Marco Gucci wins the 15-15. He's 94 points. Ezekiel Mitchell rode him for 93 the weekend before that. The bull's never been rode back-to-back weekends. He's fucking 11? What do we say? 11, 12 years old, whatever.
Turning 12, I think, this year. I think he turns 12.
I don't think he's got it, man. I think he looks good. You can't take away those numbers from him, but I think that those scores were a little bit of the name that the bull has on the bull of the year. I think they're going to fucking eat him up this year, and you're going to see a lot of rides on him, which you would never see the last few years.
It'll be like Mossy Oak Mudslinger. Everybody just want his name beside him so you can get a 90.
Yeah, a little yellow jacket, at the end of their careers, right? Everybody started sticking it on them and letting them roll.
I wonder if Chad will do that. If he'll pull back a little bit on the trips maybe or give him a rest, or what a contractor does with a bull like that. What do you do with your bull, Scott or Tanner, if that's your bull? Do you keep going back to back with them, or do you give them a break?
No, it's hard to say. Yeah, you definitely give him a break. I mean, well, who knows? It's hard to say, but Chad, I don't think gives a fuck. He brought Asteroid out of retirement and started bucking him again, so whatever. And there's both sides of it. Guys think that that's what the bulls want to do, so let them fucking do what they want to do. What's the point of retiring them? And then on the other hand, it's like, well, there's going to be guys that never should have rode that bull that are going to ride them. So all their percentages are going to go down, which if that's what matters to you, that's what matters. It's personal preference. Me, I'd retire him and be done with it and let him fucking be the legend that he is, instead of trying to let him roll for the year, or however much longer he might go with them. But I mean, fuck, you get a 94 on him, so it's a bit tough to say shouldn't be there. Fuck,
that's true.
He should be there.
Very true.
I just don't think he's the caliber that he was the previous 2 years.
But if I could interject here,
neither am I.
Yeah. If I can interject here, I honestly do think. I think he's just, that back-to-back weekend. Hey, everybody has stubs a toe once in a while, and he didn't stub it much. I think he's just saving up, and he's gonna kick it. He's gonna kick it, boys.
Fucking right. I like it. I like the confidence. We'll be watching. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. Riding Solo obviously will fucking be quite a bit better, but we'll see if he can keep up for a little while halfway through the year.
That's right.
Where's my bull in the mix?
He hasn't been out yet. Whoopa, the bull that Leme rode at the World Finals for the high score. Yeah, I'm saving him, or he's fucking hurt. I don't know. I haven't seen him though. Him and Dalen are figuring it out together.
Yeah. They're just sitting back in the weeds, waiting to just capitalize.
Another good bull by the name of Red Clark came from Craig Wentz, and Craig obviously raised. Tons of good bulls, Bucky, Cochise, those big bulls from out west, from the Northwest. He's got another one that is now under Paradigm Bull Company, Jeremy Walker. I think they sold him up there to him. Red Clark, and back-to-back weekends, tied for the highest mark bull during the event. Really, really good bull with this one to definitely keep an eye on. Got the size, got everything to him.
Yeah, I've seen that. I watched that ride, and that bull is all there, and he's friggin' big too. He's not no little mouse in there.
Yeah, he's a man. He's a fucking senior bull. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. If I tied my hand to that back in the day, Jason, where would I have ended up? Oh, that's great. That's right, Dad.
Going back to Smooth Operator and Ezekiel Mitchell, they matched up for 93 points, and I kind of got caught up with the point systems and the long round, short rounds, and what was going on within the PBR of what they were trying to do with the points, and found out later on that short round that Ezekiel rode in, 12 guys, the guys refused to get on. They made a deal where whoever wanted to get on could get on, and they each got paid $1,000. So Ezekiel Mitchell, for being 93 points on Smooth Operator, received $1,000.
Okay, so this is my whole deal. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? So you go out there, you're 94 points.
93.
Or 93 points. If that was me and I had to tell that story like 5 years down the road, we're sitting around drinking beers and you're like, yeah, I was 93 points. Yeah. Oh, that must have paid unreal. No, $1,000. I just agreed to tie my hand to one for at the elite level. Awesome.
Well, that takes me back to when Sundstrom had all them good bulls that he got from Tyler T, and go out to and Ben Goff and those rodeos, and you'd ride one of them for 87 or 88, and you won. It was $773 to win Kennedy.
Yeah.
So that would have been like pocket change, and when he's packing bull.
Pour some sugar on me.
Oh, those ones. Yeah.
What else? The jump Cowboy Fever.
Yep.
He didn't. Yep. Did he come from Tyler though? Cowboy Fever, or he just used him to breed with? And then what's the white bullet that he had that was meaner than shit? Like, was that a
which Machine Head? Was that one?
No, he had one that was pretty bucky but was pretty mean. Tanner, that would have been your era.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of it.
Is that not the one that jumped in the crowd at the CFR? No.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Pop
Was
Evil.
it?
Oh, Pop Evil, yeah.
Oh,
Pop Evil
Pop
wasn't
Evil.
mean though.
He
wasn't
I
mean.
thought he had a white one that was really bad.
Probably. What was the one that jumped in the crowd at the CFR on that lady?
I was just gonna say, let's call a lady. She probably got the ear tag.
I think that's on the internet somewhere for our viewers. 1 year at the Canadian Finals Rodeo, bull jumped out in Rexall and landed on a person. That's
It was 2010 because I was an alternate that year, and that bull bails into the crowd and everybody's running down to the other end. I was so pissed off. I was an alternate. I just sat there at the chutes. I thought, fuck them. They'll be okay. You know?
Do you still feel that under your skin, that alternate work?
Yeah, a little
still
bit.
with you?
Yeah, a little bit.
The first loser.
Still there. Yeah. It's still there. Oh yeah. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty crazy. So I guess that they did that to make a deal for TV, so that kept the PBR happy and the guys happy and whatever. I don't know. I think they all should have fucking stuck to their guns and did what they had to do. But what are you gonna do now? That's all done. Kobaba rides a bull called Diddy Wah Diddy. Jason, you'll be familiar with this one. Stetson Wright rides this bull to win a round at the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo in 2019. Sammy Andrews, Cord McCoy has him now. Looks cool. Looks like a good one that I think they're going to eat up at that level.
Yeah, just one that you want to draw, one you want to have your name beside.
Yep. Yeah, he was a heater the first day with a right-handed guy, bucked him off and looked really good. And then Kobaba rode him and spurred him down. And I think that's one that, especially left-handed guys on that tour, are gonna love. They'll take him all day, every day. A little bit of a shoot fighter, but they can get by that pretty easy, I think. There
and worth it.
Yep. Yeah. Another
you
curveball.
Don't want the re-ride.
You want no, fuck no. Curveball as well. Going back to the point system. They changed it back to the original point system. And then this weekend had their long round and then a 15-15 after the long round after the first day. So in reality of it, they didn't have a short round the first day. They made the guys happy. Okay, we want to have short rounds every day, but we're going to bring back the 15-15. Instead of 12 guys in the short round, they just had a fucking 15-15 after the long round. So it was no change.
Didn't you say that on like episode 8 or 7? You said, and then they'll just add a 15 and 15 for sure. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. So that's what went down there, and worked for good for the guys. There was 490s. So once again, good TV. Boys were riding them, but
you got to worry about the TV.
Yeah, it fucking cracked me up though. I was like, holy shit! They kind of just 6-1, half a dozen the other. They'll give you one, but they're gonna take that other side of it. So, whatever. What are you gonna do?
The give and take relationship, Tanner.
Yep, back and forth. Super Bowl picks, Super Bowl Sunday. Here we go. What do we got? Who do you guys got?
Well, I got it
in the Gronk all the way.
Yeah.
Ditto it. You know what?
You can't not cheer for the guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that too. And I'll be honest, I don't follow it close enough to even deserve to make a pick. But when you say Tom Brady, I know that guy is unreal. So
you know what? If he wins the Super Bowl and the MVP, I'll phone him up and see if he wants to come on the pod. We'll do him a solid.
If he wants to be a 3D athlete.
We'll see if we can get him.
Hey, did you know that?
I'm sure.
So Gronk, obviously he was retired, right? And then he came back and wanted to come back and play for Tampa Bay with Brady. So supposedly when he was trying to get back on the team, the athletics department made him send in videos every day of him running, to show that he was in shape. And if you've seen any videos of Gronk or if you've seen him outside the football field, he's fucking a wild man. Oh, he's a monster athlete. He's fucking just a gem. Looks like somebody that we'd all like to hang out with that has a great fucking time. But supposedly every day they were making him send these videos of him running sprints and making sure that he was in shape for when fucking camp started and whatnot, so that they would take him back on the team. Well, he just released, now that they're back at the Super Bowl, that he got fucking sick of that. So he would just change his shirt and just do like 5 or 6 of them in a day and film them with different shirts on, and then would just send them every other day. So I like that.
Not bad.
You get all those guys, like there was the big thing of if they still had it or if they could do it. And I think that those guys are just champions. They know what they're
Oh yeah,
do.
you said it.
They try to go by whatever the rules are, but it's like now that they're at the Super Bowl again, it's like, let me tell you what I actually fucking did again.
Yeah. Hey, interesting point. This is the first time the Super Bowl's either ever been played by a team in their home
arena
stadium.
Yeah. Tampa Bay. Yeah.
And then what? So they'll be able to have fans, eh? Some.
Probably Florida. Yeah. Fuck. Who knows? I'm sure
they can. Yeah. Speaking of fans, did anybody tune into Rapid City, Extreme Bulls and Extreme Bronx on the weekend?
I just seen the highlights.
Hats off to Governor Kristi Noem. She's got it opened up. The building was full. Up in the corners, you could see some holes, but like it was full, and
they were
masks.
Yeah, like 2 or 3, and they were shoulder to shoulder, young, old, elderly, sick, dumb, smart, didn't matter, man. And I was like, that is so awesome because
seems like a lifetime ago we saw that.
Yeah, it was great to see. I was like, I want to do what they're doing. I would go. Why not? It's my choice. If I want to go watch it, let me go. Right?
Yeah.
Don't take it away from us. But
yeah. Personal preference on the whole situation would be a lot different than what's happening right now. That's pretty cool though. I guess good to see that there's even some there's rodeos going. I heard that Austin is canceled. Salinas has pushed back dates. But it's looking like I'm hearing up here in Canada that we're going to have some to go to this year.
Some are committing, and we'll see what happens, I guess, when D-Day comes.
Yep, see how it rolls. Hopefully, yeah. I'm hearing Calgary, some of them bigger ones are going to try to do it and might be scaled down, but they're trying to get something going. So it's good to hear that anyway. Not everybody's just giving totally up on it. I think we need to have something get going. It can't go 2 fucking full years like this, or you might not see lots of them again.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you might, or the riders, or some of these bulls. They can't handle
events, bulls, fuck everything, the whole everything, right? Contractors, fuck, everything, every aspect of it.
I know we talked about it lots at the PBR events here in Canada this year or last year, sorry, but you know how we talked about give some of these guys time to heal up and be fresh for like our finals in November or whatever, but. You're right. We've crossed that threshold where some of these guys that are at the peak of their career or nearing the end, if we go another year without anything, it is going to be the end of their career, right? Yeah, there's, sure. So it's going to take a lot of glory and a lot of heart and all the time and energy guys have put into being a professional athlete. It's going to kind of take the wind out of their sails if they have to end it like that. So,
yeah. Well, hopefully we can keep an eye on it and see where it goes, get some vaccines and fucking get her done. But with the Super Bowl happening this weekend, don't forget to get yourself some sneaky weasels, everybody. Quick ad plug. Here we go. If you're looking for a smooth, refreshing beer this weekend, grab yourself a Sneaky Weasel Craft Lager. This mildly hopped craft lager delivers a bold 5.6 ABV, but goes down crisp and clean. This beer pairs well with any bull riding celebration, fun in the sun, good times with friends, and obviously the Super Bowl. This beer is available all across Western Canada. Sneaky Weasel Lager, the official beer sponsor of the NFP podcast.
Scott, did you get your Sneaky Weasel delivered from Tanner yet?
You know what? I've been waiting by the mailbox for just about a month now.
Me too.
Nothing. I'm going with the COVID. It's a little slower in the mail.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll just stick to the water in my Yeti here.
Yeah.
Well, I always get them right to the door, and I almost get them out the door to get them sent in the mail, and then I just fucking hammer them in my guts.
You gotta have one.
Just drink them all.
They're too good. I'm telling you. Once we open up, you guys can come up here, and we'll do one of these live finally, and have some fun and smash a whole shit pile of them, as we know we like to do. Yeah. So, so with that, Rapid City, you were talking, Jason. there's been quite a few Canadians that have been doing good down there. There's only been a couple of events that have went on, but guys like Leighton Green, Ben Anderson, Kyle Lucas, Scott Guntner, Mike Soldberg, Joe Goose, some of the names that I've seen up atop the standings been doing good, obviously living down there and kicking ass. So that's pretty cool to see guys fucking rolling.
Yeah, both the Hay boys were riding in that extreme. I think Leighton Green caught a check. So yeah, it is good. They're, they've sacrificed, got across the border. Have we heard back from Logan Beaver? Is he allowed to come across now with all these new rules, or is he going to have to go to quarantine jail?
Yeah, I haven't heard. I know that
somebody better
crazy. Yeah.
Somebody better send a message to him somehow.
Yeah. So do you guys know the story on that? Somebody can explain that to the viewers.
Well, it was just on the news here tonight. So if you're coming back in from the U.S. into Canada, now you have to quarantine for 3 days at a government designated hotel at a cost of $2,000. You're coming out of your pocket. So until you can either pass that test, if you can't, you got to stay longer in quarantine. And then if you do, after the 3 days, you can go home and quarantine the rest at home. But basically, they whisk you off the plane and you go hang out at a hotel of their choice. Hopefully it's not the five and dime, what was the hotel at Innisfail used to stay at? The blue, what was that called up in the hill there? I mean, you could rent that sucker by the minute.
By the minute. I think Shaunavon had the blue sapphire. I think it was.
Oh God, yeah, those sound fucking nice.
Oh man!
But that's the deal now. So I know they were talking about like snowbirds now that have gone down before all this come in. They're either gonna have to wait it out, till I think it's 180 days is up, or come home and go through this whole expense and time and whatever now. So
it's kind of like doing away with the fine and just giving you that $2,000. It's pretty much a $2,000 fucking fine in a sense.
Donation.
You're on your own dime. Oh, yeah. And I know they're only flying into Canada now into 4 airports. Correct?
Yeah. Montreal, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver.
Yeah. What about driving? Can you drive across?
Essential. If it's essential, you can't just go across to Whitefish to go skiing.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So more rules. No vaccines, more rules.
Yeah.
I think this is telling us something, guys. I think the fucking world is telling us something right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know
it's sweet nothings in our ear as we fucking sit here.
Yeah. Rapid City, Stetson Wright gets back to his winning ways. Didn't take him long after the national finals rodeo with a world championship in the bull ride and an all-around championship. He's back to second, I think, in both those standings with over 14,000 won already just off the start of the year. So looking like it's going to be another good season for Stetson.
Yeah, finished third. Uncle Spencer had a good finish. I think he split third in the bronc riding with Ryder. So they each got a chunk of the pie there, and then they're all headed. I talked to Spencer today, actually. They're headed back for the rodeo this weekend. So Rapid City, wow, why aren't we living there?
I know.
Well, kind of like last year, South Dakota there was other ones that went, but South Dakota was, the main area where all the rodeos were happening, right underneath that.
And their hockey team's playing. Rapid City's got a team in the East Coast League. It's an affiliate of the Tucson and Arizona, and they've been playing. They've been playing for a month.
When's the AHL coming back? Wasn't that supposed to be mid-February?
The end of this week here, I think. I was actually just looking at it, but I didn't catch a day. Maybe like this Friday or Saturday, actually.
Yeah, it should be pretty soon. Mid-February, I think I heard off the hop. So that'll be good.
I think it's quicker. Yeah. Oh yeah. And trust me, they're ready to get playing.
Yeah.
Those guys, some of those guys, they're going on a year that they haven't played a hockey game.
Yeah.
So, and what about the WHL? What's the deal there?
Well, I've got players reporting to the WHL teams in Alberta, and they're scheduled to play February 26th. Anyway, this Friday.
Oh, sweet. Cool.
Yeah, we're playing. So I'll have a busy kind of watching on the computer here, which will be good. But back to you, Scott. Lethbridge, yeah, all our players are back there. Where we thought Saskatchewan was going to be the go-to or the first province back. I haven't heard anything yet. None.
So is it going to have any effect on them starting in the WHL now that they've canceled like all minor hockey in Alberta as of today? Like, will that have any bearing on them going, whoa, should we move it back even more?
I don't think so. They've been pushing back and pushing back. It's finally, I'm just actually glad that they put a plan together instead of just, the kids are in. They're skating with their groups now. So that's the first time that's happened. Right. They talked about starting on this day and this day, but, we can all set dates. I can tell you we're going to do a bull ride in here, June 30th, but unless you have a plan in place and it's got to come to fruition somehow. You can't just talk about it. You got to do it.
How about March 30th? That'd be better.
How about tomorrow? Fuck. Yeah, no shit. What about it though? Your guys in the NHL, are they rolling? What's happening with them?
Well, no, they're not rolling. Shit. New Jersey and Vegas are both postponing games due to COVID outbreaks. So that takes care of Severson and Stevenson. Howard didn't go on the road with the Canucks, but he is skating. So he hasn't had a chance to get in the lineup yet this year from a concussion suffered in the preseason inter-squad game. And then my boy Ethan Bear took a shot from off the ice, hit him in the head on the bench, actually broke his helmet.
Fuck.
Yeah, so, you got to go through the concussion protocol, all that. And then they went as far as making sure everything was good with an MRI and everything. So he's skating. I expect him. He's not going to play tonight. I hope to see him back in the next one or whenever he's ready, obviously. But
so what you're saying is those guys can shoot harder than me?
Well, yeah. I'm saying that's what I'm saying.
Quick snapshot.
Oh man, that's whistling if it breaks your fucking helmet, isn't it?
Yeah. No shit.
I've seen the new CCM helmet, what he's wearing, and they retail to the teams at just shy of $800 a piece. Like the technology that's going into, helmet's pretty important. I would guess there's no different in a football helmet. It would even be that much more sophisticated. But I go back to when we played I think it was supposed to be some kind of foam in my old CC, but from sweat and sitting in the bag, and it was as hard as the plastic on the outside at the end. Like, what good is that doing a guy?
That's good. Well, speaking of hockey, that can segue us into our guest today, former hockey player turned one of the funniest fucking human beings ever in the world. We're lucky enough. Good English. Lucky enough. Did I get it that time?
I think so.
Oh,
you're lucky enough.
No, kind of.
You know what?
Lucky enough.
I can't even help you because I don't have the script.
Yeah.
I don't have the script.
Fuck,
so
me neither. I
got
some jock notes, but holy fuck, obviously I can't read them.
some jock
We
notes.
are lucky enough to be joined. We're probably gonna laugh like this the whole freaking show when this guy gets on, because he's one of the funniest human beings. That he's a comedian, but just he's one of those guys that when he says something that's funny, just fucking the way he says it makes the guy laugh. So looking forward to having Kelly Taylor on the pod today.
Yeah, that was we kind of decided this a few weeks ago, and then we were just having to figure out where we were going to put him in, and get him cornered, because I think he's kind of like us, trying to get us three herded in the same corral at the same time. Isn't that easy? But,
exactly.
No, good. We better not keep him waiting.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get to him right away. One more thing that we do want to get to is the passing of Sharon Shoulders. If you guys seen that, that's such an iconic woman, really the first lady of rodeo, and somebody that I was fortunate enough to meet and get to talk to, and never did she ever not have, I was nobody and she was this prestigious woman and always had time to talk and give you some info and just a great lady. I don't know if you guys had any run-ins with her or not.
Yeah, Jim was the original wrangler in Dorsey back in the day. It was interesting. All the years they worked with Jim and Sharon, never had a contract.
Really?
Not a written contract. No.
Yeah.
No. Just an agreement, just a handshake. So she excuse me, she did join us at a sales meeting. Yeah, like you said, just a lovely lady. And, those are the kind of people you like to sit down and have a dinner with. And, I got to sit with Harry Gold at the supper table one time and, I'll never forget that. And I put her in that same class of, they're iconic, they're rodeo legends.
Yep.
I would see her as the manager in that relationship. Jim was the cowboy, but Sharon was the manager. She looked after him, and I think she's pretty business savvy and knew how to carry herself as a professional. And yeah, it's a huge loss to the industry, but she'll never be forgotten.
I never got to meet her, but just off of social media, the people that have, said comments, and every comment, like you say, is just, she was iconic. So yeah, it's definitely a sad passing.
For sure. So our thoughts and prayers are with them and the whole family, and somebody that will definitely never be forgotten. That's for sure. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad you joined us today because we're going to go have some fun right now with the one and only Mr. Kelly Taylor. Welcome to the show today, Canada's top comic, appearing in Just for Laughs all across Canada, a two-time provincial champion in both Pee Wee and Bantam for PA minor hockey, a funny man from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Kelly Taylor. Kelly, how are we doing today?
Don't let hopefully this episode doesn't get out to any comics when you call it Canada's top comic. I'm sure there'll be about 10 or 15 other comics like, fuck that. Hopefully we're just getting out to the PBR boys or something that have seen me, because there might be some people who have got a discrepancy on that. Okay, but you can't take away the Pee Wee AA and the Bantam AA title. Those are mine for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Fuck those guys. I think you're the top comic. You're my top comic. You're
mine too.
There we go. Okay.
Kelly, do you remember which towns you beat out in both those years for the provincial title?
Yeah, Regina, both times. They had a good team. I remember Pee Wee, we were stacked to the tits. I probably didn't even need to be there. I was a goalie. We won 8-7. And then it was 2 years later in Bantam, we didn't make a major minor team. The team in PA was split up, so it was a lot tougher win. So I actually had to play good in that final. So Regina both times. So take that, Jeremy Rondeau and Donnie Kinney. I remember those are the two stars for Regina. So fuck them. They're missing 2 titles. We got it.
That's awesome. So growing up, Northern Saskatchewan, Prince Albert, like most kids, you're obviously playing minor hockey. Growing up, hockey is everything. How does that turn into a career as a comic?
Just be bad at hockey, I guess. That's it. I tell people those are on my bio because it just absolutely plateaus after that. A lot of people are like, I hit my stride in this. I plateaued in Bantam. So after that, like all my friends were going out, like after high school, I think I had 8 good friends, like best friends, and they all played pro. And I didn't go anywhere, so I kind of had to find something else to do. I was so jealous of them, and then when I started doing comedy, even then it's not that fun because I even started comedy a little later just because I didn't want to miss out on the parties on the Friday and Saturday. Because if you're doing comedy, you were at the low totem pole. You didn't even know some of these headliners. They treat you like shit anyways. You're just an up-and-coming guy. So I'd miss out on something to go to a small town. So I started even a little bit later. But now it feels like I got the last laugh because all my buddies that play pro hockey are done and they've got real jobs. And now I still
have a career.
I still have not right now. But I mean,
same as us.
Now I have all the fun. Like I get to just travel and got it's like a fucking holiday for life. Just good times. That's all it is. So in the long run, I guess it's good.
That is good. What about when you?
Sounds like Tanner's life.
Yeah,
You guys got a
fucking
lot in
A.
common. No wonder you guys get along so damn well.
Except that, yeah, exactly. Except he might get banged up a little more than me. So, hey.
Yeah. What about? So you went back to where your all your buddies, or lots of your buddies, like 8 of them, went to the pros, which that's pretty amazing. And obviously in northern Saskatchewan, Prince Albert Town, there's a lot of hockey, so guys are gonna go places with it. But you being a goalie when all your friends were gone, what's the story when you called the WHL team and you were like, fuck it, I won't even play goal? What's that?
That's SJ actually. Okay. Yeah, because you think you have your heads all mapped out of where you're gonna go in hockey. So in Bantam, like say in Bantam AA, we had that great season, we win provincials, and then I'm going into AAA, but I'm going to Pat's camp as a 16-year-old, and I've talked to the coach during the summer. They've got 2 older goalies, so they're making room. They're probably making room for me. So I was like, oh my God, in my head, I'm like 16-year-old. And back in the day, like a 16-year-old that plays in the dub, that's a good chance to get drafted in the NHL. So you're like, you haven't even played a game in the Western League. And I'm already like planning out, like, yeah, you're going to get drafted. You won't play much this year. All this goes through your head. And then I go to Pat's camp and absolutely suck. I let in 5 goals in the first period of inter squad. I broke my stick in Pat's camp. And thought, oh, whatever. I just got to play 1 period because we got 3 goalies on each team. I can get through 1 period with a broken stick. No, I couldn't. I let in 5 goals on like 11 shots, got released, and then just never played good in AAA. Went back and backed up for AAA. And then the next year, I got cut as a second-year AAA. Like, when they let the house league kids skate for 1 skate, then they just dice them. I was diced straight away. I was like, hey, I can't find my name on the list. What am I playing? So I think I got something about maybe he drinks too much. Whatever. I don't know where that came from. Rumors.
Yeah, bogus.
So where was this question
Fake
actually
news.
going to?
CNN. Fake
yeah.
news.
So now I'm not playing in the dub. I'm not even listed with any SJ team. But you get a letter. Every SJ team would want to get $50 from you just to go to camp. So you get all the letters, and I was like, holy man, I gotta actually, like, I'm not listed with anyone. I gotta try to crack a lineup here. I'm done playing midget. So I looked at lineups, so I could tell they had 2 goalies. So then I started calling teams. I was like, hey, do you have your goalie situation? Like, set. Move on. Nip one. Hey, you got your goalie situation? Like, we're set. And I was like, holy shit, man. I'm on the last call. It's like Kindersley. So I called Kindersley Clippers, and their coach was Wayne Labrie. And I was like, hey, you got it? He's like, no, we're set. And then I was just like, fuck, man, I got nothing. Like, I have no friends at home. Everyone's gone. So then I was just like, and that was a time when you had terror, because I'd been to a million camps where there was guys that could barely skate, but if they fought every shift, there's always room for them. You always have that 4th line guy. And I just wanted to be around guys. I didn't care. So then as soon as he said, no, we're set, I was like, wow. I said, I'll play, can I be a 4th line? And I'll fight. And as soon as the time you tell me to fight and I don't fight, you can send me home. And he's like, well, he goes, are you a goalie or forward? I said, no, I'll be anything you want to be. And it was like, and then it was just silence on the phone for a little bit. He's like, I think we're good. And then I had 2 buddies from PA that played on Kindersley, Rennie Boyson and, Robbie Boyson and Renee Benoit. And they were both like, man, did you call Wade Labrie and tell him you'd fight? I was like, fuck, man, yeah, I got nothing else to do. So I ended up bricklaying with my dad when I'm 18. That sucked balls. Everyone's playing junior hockey, having the time of their lives, and I'm mixing mud at Mount St. Joe's and building scaffolding. So it wasn't quite as good.
Oh man.
Oh, that's gold. So then how does comedy come into play? You're just fucking partying one night and get ripped up and know that you're funny, or how did that kind of come around?
Like, I always you want to play hockey and then it's not an option. Then I was like, oh man, I always loved stand up. I was always the kind of life of a party, or just, and my brothers were like that. They'd come into a room and kind of take command of a room. Even my brother, I remember, like, back in the day, when kids come in the room, parents like, hey, fuck, get out of here. But my brother could come into a room and be funny to like adults, and like adults would be like, holy man. And then my dad was kind of like the same storm. He'd walk into a room and just get in everyone's face. My dad was almost to the point where he'd be inappropriate too. Like, holy shit, was that ever inappropriate? So it was always funny. Like, I remember being in a hospitality room where we had at a hockey tournament where there was a parent that hadn't met my dad yet. And I remember being there, like, going to get something from my mom, and we're about to leave. And then the one parent like elbows this other one, like, here, this is Kenny Taylor. This is the guy I was telling you about. And I was like, oh man. So I was that kind of guy, like, just kind of funny, and always knew I wanted to do it, and never really knew how to get into it because there was like a Yuck Yucks night in PA. But so the first show I actually did was for my mom, because I told her I wanted to be a comedian. And no, people don't call you to do a comedy show because they told you want to be a comedian. You have to go out and do comedy. And my mom came to like, hey, the bank is having like the Christmas party and they want a comedian. Would you like to do it? Which is ridiculous. Like, you should be doing comedy for 10 years, figure out what a corporate set is. And I was like, wow, it doesn't seem like the right field, but no one's asking me to do comedy. So I was like, yeah. And usually do comedy for 3 to 5 minutes. I ended up doing like an hour, which is pretty ridiculous.
Did you have any stuff, or that was just all from the top of your head?
It was almost like get a bunch of, like, I jotted down a few things, but I didn't even know how to write a joke then. So it was lots of stories and heavy drinking is what it was. And it worked out. It worked out all right. But then when I really got into comedy is a few years later. I went to university, and then I was like, okay, I got to find a way to do this. Got a hold of a guy. He had all these bars on during the weeknights, and started going out there all the time. Then he started building up material, and that was it. That was it right there.
No shit.
So like I remember you back in the day. I was a little bit older than you in Carleton Comprehensive High School, and like you would do stuff like pull up the 4-way stops in that standard car and just stop and bounce all the way through, wave at people. Like, man, it was in you right from the start. Do you it was something obviously way back, even playing hockey, that you were kind of maybe in the back of your head wanted to do, correct?
That's funny, man. Yeah, that is what we used to do. Like, I think obviously everyone thinks different. Like, if someone's real smart at math, they'll come in, they'll assess the situation like this, like that. It's like, I'm terrible at like everything. Like, I was a goalie. I can't even touch my toes. Like, no wonder why I was done in bantam. I was the least, like, I had no mobility. Like, and I can't read well. I can't write. I can't spell. Everything I technically do is terrible. Like, as a kid, you think you run fast and look good, and then people start like, look at this guy. Then they start calling me crazy legs. Like, I didn't even know, because you know what you look like when you run. Like, I run ridiculous. I can't swim. Like, I'm terrible at everything there is. I'm terrible. It's like, I got one trait, and they'll say, okay, you can assess each situation and try to make like light out of it or something. Because each time I walk into a room, it's always like, you can figure out things, and then someone would say something like, you're just going to leave that. Or I don't know if that's a part to do with my brothers, because my brother, as soon as anything gets said, like, he doesn't take a second off. Everything's about burning someone. So everything is like a burn.
Yeah.
So we used to do everything like, like every time the bell rang for lunch at Carleton, we're like, hey, let's go do something stupid. Like, let's laugh. Let's go out. And we used to just like be ridiculous. Like, go into the 4-way stop and pretend you couldn't drive. It was just like the car would be running fine, and we just toss up the hood and then like get into fake argument with me and Buddy, like just over by Carleton, like, whoa, what's going on? And the car's running fine. We're just taking up the whole intersection. Like, what are these idiots doing? And then we would and this one became huge in high school. We called them fakers, where we would kind of sit and you could see the car coming from your left, but you're like, oh yeah, he's looking, and we'll pretend we don't see him. You know, when you can kind of tell like a car's inching out, like, does this asshole not see me? And then we pull out in front of someone and like almost hit them, and then like freak out, like, hey, what the fuck? And you're like, hey. And then we would just drive around all noon hour and do that shit. And then you go into the square, you throw things, do this, like anything stupid. We're just to make you laugh. And it's almost like we were jackass guys in high school. Just why take a moment off from laughing when you can laugh all the time?
Fucking rip it up.
Oh, too bad you couldn't have beat Johnny Knoxville to that,
Oh, when we saw, I remember I was actually at Todd Miller's house. It was the first time I saw a Jackass, and it blew my mind. I was like, this is the greatest thing, and why weren't we doing that? But then sometimes they start doing some insane shit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Okay, I'm not doing that.
Not going that far. Not going
I'll
that far.
put that little car up my ass and go to the doctor, but I'm not fucking
what about in those early days, like when you started doing gigs? I would imagine that they probably weren't at the highest class of places, and probably some fun times. How do you prepare for something like that when you're not overly confident in yourself and you're just gonna go out there and fucking rip it? How do you get prepared for something like that?
Well, and wait, just to echo Tanner here, I have this vision. If you've watched Roadhouse, you know, when the band's behind the chicken wire, like, has it ever been that bad?
Oh
Anywhere?
yeah. 100%.
Oh yeah.
I've been to like northern communities in Ontario where like the comics, and I was drinking all, like I was getting into their mood, and the comics weren't. And they're just like, this looks brutal. Let's just do the show, get out of here. And I was already like rip roaring, having a good time. I was like, no, let's do this. Let's get the crowd's face. Like, I was ridiculous that way. When I started out, because that's how it started out, was all kind of rough bars. So if comics came through Saskatchewan and did our run, it was like they wanted to do this run and get the fuck out of here. Whereas I was always used to it, because sometimes the crowd wouldn't even listen to you. Like they wouldn't listen to. I remember JT's and PA. If they could smell you telling a joke, they're like, "Hey, fucking, he's telling jokes." This guy, like, they just wanted.
This guy thinks he's fucking funny.
Yeah, they wanted a real life party story. So every time I went on stage, I was always drinking and being ridiculous, and you had to get to like the same level as them. So and if they could smell like jokes, like, "Oh, what the hell," and they wouldn't pay attention. And comics hated coming here. And then I was also loose cannon. Like they'd have to follow me because I just started comedy, but then I would guzzle 2 or 3 schooners, and the crowd would pay attention to that because they're guzzling schooners. And then they would come up to do jokes, and like they wouldn't listen to them because it's like who when they're drinking hard wants to stop, pay attention to everything, and that's not the way PA was. Like you had to be more of a sideshow. And one of my closers was I used to do this Ray Finkel as Lois Ihorn. Ace Ventura was more relevant back then. I'd get like, yes. Because comics would be like, who likes impersonations? And everyone would be like, yeah. Because that's what people do. They like it. And I was like, I don't have any impersonations. I need one. I was like, oh man, I should do Ray Finkel as Lois Ihorn, which in Ace Ventura, Ray Finkel or Lois Ihorn is like they pants her and it's just fucking got dick and balls tucked back between her legs. So I would always, who likes impersonations, go behind a little curtain, come back out with my dick and balls tucked, and it would get a huge laugh. It's really hack, obviously. Like it's not a well-written joke or anything, because real comics would be like, what a loser this guy is. Except the crowd would get a huge laugh, and then it's just hard to follow that. So comics like, I don't want to follow this animal. But then I did it when I went, I did it in Calgary. And when I went to Calgary, I thought I made it. I was like, oh man, I've made it. I'm out of Saskatchewan. I was far from making it. It was at Coco's. It was it was like the airport bar. The girls were in bikinis. The one lady, I think she was actually shot by a shotgun. She had like a scar. Like it was nasty, man. So I did this, or no, it wasn't even that night. It was the next night. This one-eyed Jacks. I did this Ray Finkel joke. It's my closer, and I walk off. I hope it's my closer. I wouldn't want to do that joke in mid-set and then keep going.
Yeah.
But I do this joke, and it always get a big laugh. But this night it got like a real big pop. Like, wow. I was like, oh yeah, there we go. See, I'm making it. And I go to get off, and the host is like dying laughing. I was like, yeah, it's a good joke, eh? Like I think I'm awesome. And he's like, no, man. He goes, look, like the glass was actually reflective. So it was behind me. Everyone could just see my dick and balls tucked back between my leg. And I was like, oh no. So now every show I wanted to do after that, I wanted reflective glass.
I have to have a look. So Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey, is that kind of like, would that be your comedy idol, or who did you look up to when you're trying to get in the game?
That's funny, man, because it would have been like grade 10 is when he kind of blew up, and I loved it. Like, loved him.
Yeah.
So we like impersonations of him, I guess. So that's my one impersonation. But growing up, yeah, for sure would have been Jim Carrey big time. I was a huge Saturday Night Live guy. I just loved SNL. Chris Farley, Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell would have been older, but
yeah,
those are my guys. Like stand up. I don't watch a lot of stand up, but it's usually the guys I like in stand up are the guys that are different than me. Like I like Norm Macdonald, like slow. There's a guy in the States called Mike Birbiglia, huge fan. Those are probably those guys, and then just SNL. SNL always just look like they're having a good time, and it made him a team guy. Like the end of SNL where you just see them all, and I just look at them and you're like, oh fuck, they're going to party. What a great night that would be after just grinding it out nonstop, because they're working nonstop for like 2-3 weeks to build up to that show, then to do it. And then you're just like, oh, how fun would that, just the cast going out of like, woohoo.
Well, apparently back in the day, the Dan Aykroyd Chevy Chase, they went for a couple weeks without sleeping.
Oh, it'd be nuts.
Face down to the glass going hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Farley. Fuck, yeah.
Could you imagine, man? Those guys would have been just absolute beasts. And then like to have, like, you know, it's almost like a big win or you ride good that night. Like, you know, when you hit a skit, you're like, fuck, I think that skit's going to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
To go out that night, like after cowbell or after all the motivational speaker, like Farley after the night of motivational speaker must have been like, whoa, I think that was good. Eh?
I did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So do you ever, when you walk into a crowd and you have, say, your set wrote or you know what you're going to say, have you ever had to just change it up, like walking up thinking, oh, what I got planned for tonight isn't going to work with this crowd?
Yeah, that's I usually work solo, which sucks in the sense of you don't get to actually feel out the crowd. So if I'm working with other guys, you get to sit there and watch and like, okay, yeah, well, no, and you kind of you're like, ooh, maybe that won't work tonight. So. And there's almost, you know, like there's some of my favorite things. Like if you do like a senior hockey function. So senior hockey function is like, man, that's where I fell in love with hockey again, like played 6 years of that. So I kind of like know what that's all about. You know, it's locker room guys, you know, they're at that 30-ish age or they're starting to get kids. They've all got, and all their girls are there and it's like a night out, and senior hockey is usually in a small town. It's like a senior hockey show has like the trifecta of, it's everything's in my wheelhouse. Like, holy fuck, this is going to be fun. Whereas opposed to some nights, you're like, this won't work. This is cut this out. Like I did a function for, I remember my old manager, and he's a Jewish guy. And he I don't know why, maybe there's not enough Jewish comedians in Western Canada, because he gave me this gig in Calgary and it was all Jewish. And he's like, and he goes, Kelly, maybe don't do this. He goes, yeah, and he goes, that camping joke, yeah, that's funny. He goes, but you don't need to do that tonight. He goes, that might not hit. And I was like, what? He goes, Jews don't camp. I never thought of that. Okay.
I mean, has it changed like through the years now that kind of the world's gone a lot softer than it has in the past? So from when you first came on as a comic, has your shit and material had to change just to fucking not go over the line lots of the times?
It almost changed pre getting soft. Like, so I would have started out in bars, and it was always a very dirty show because you had to be a wow thing, to opening up for a guy doing a corporate event. And then I was like, holy man, this isn't going to really work. So it was even before that, because the guy said, because if you want to make money in comedy, you got to be clean. So now I do 90% of my shows are clean just because I got kids and I got to pay the bills. And then the other ones where you cut loose and you feel more obligated. If someone's paying you full price for a show, you're like, I don't want to come in here and then them get 6 complaints. So the beauty of someone giving you a show that pays shit and all that, then you treat it like that. Like you come in like, okay, well, I'm not going to tell a lot of jokes. I'm going to riff. And if it doesn't work, who cares? You're barely giving me any money. But sometimes that's when they get the gold, because if the crowd is like that anyways, and now they're getting, because when you tell a joke for the first time and it hits, it's like euphoric. You're like, oh man, that's awesome. And you can tell when the crowd feels it for the first time, like, I think this guy is making it up as he's going too. Because you can tell, like, maybe you just ask one person a question and then it just sprouts off and it keeps going like that. So it's, it always varies. But even I did colleges in Canada for 1 year, and it was real fun. Like lots of drinking, you could do this. And then I went to do American colleges, and it was like, just, I thought it'd be like a Canadian college. Like, we'll do this and this. Whereas the drinking age in the States is 21. So the comedy show is the alternative for all the kids drinking. So I cut out all my drinking stuff, all my Canadian stuff. And then if you're in the southern part, all your hockey stuff, and then all your family stuff. So you're like, oh, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone.
What's left? What's left?
Exactly. So I literally wrote, within that year, I wrote 2 hour. Holy shit.
Holy fuck. Scott's loaded already. Fuck.
Is it noon yet? Son of a bitch.
So
Sorry,
I wrote
Mic drop. Mic drop.
I just
fucking.
Holy fuck.
Oh,
Man down. Excitement.
Okay, we're good. We're back.
I wrote a thing called I called it my nerd hour, because like I was telling jokes to like an 18-year-old girl coming over dorm room in her pajama pants, sitting at the end of a chair, and like not even in a group. So it was like I was telling my jokes were like about coloring, the way girls do this. My closer was like a Jenga joke board game thing, and I was like, holy man, like you have to adapt. Like if you say you're gonna live and die by the certain same material all the time, holy man,
that'd be tough.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah, yeah. The Trudeau jokes probably work way better over here than they do in Gatineau.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not even smart. They say talk about what you know about. So there's no politics. Like I think you do some politics stuff. I was like, I'll say something, someone will heckle me, and I'll probably, nah, I don't know. You're right. Yeah. So I usually leave those off to smarter guys.
Tanner was sorry, Scott, I was just going to follow up on Tanner's question about the comics you looked up to and admired as a young guy. Was there some that you thought, how did this guy make it, that did make it, like they kind of turned out that you just didn't find funny and you promised yourself, I'm not going to be like that guy?
Well, that's a great question. I've never even had that. Yeah, 100%. There's ones, and because you work with so many of them too, and some can just be huge pieces of shit too, like that.
Hey, that's same as our world. Same as our world.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's it.
Yeah. And and a weird thing, it's I'm trying to think of a Canadian. Not many Canadians. It was seemed like it was a few Americans. It's almost like I've done a lot of hockey functions where it seems like if you're drinking with 30, 40 hockey guys, I swear to God, by the end of the night, I'm sitting at a table with SAS guys or Maritime guys. Like they're very similar, the same kind of feel. But I'm not going to mention names. I remember we're doing this comedy festival, and this comic was just on the cusp of making it big, but not quite there. Like, because what was it? The Last Comic Standing was coming, but this person was on it, but they'd recorded, but they hadn't released anything, what was happening. And we were doing this thing. It was a low-end comedy festival, so there was no one picking people up at the airport. It was just we were being nice enough to do it. So me and another comic went, and we went to pick them up from the airport. And like we went, and they didn't know we were the comics, and like they like walked away from their bags, like we're supposed to pick it up and take it. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, we're just being nice guys, like we're drinking and we're whatever. So we grabbed these bags and threw it in, and oh man, just arrogant pieces of shit. And later on, when I've watched this person do well now, and even when I watch it, I was like, I still don't see what is funny in this at all. And I
cringe. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, and I just Oh, and Buddy hated him. Buddy hated him even more. He was drinking in there. They're like, hey, what? You can't drink and drive. And then he goes, oh fuck no, you're in Canada. This shit rolls. And they're like, what? This is legal in Canada? Like it's not, but they know nothing about Canada. So.
What about
until they get their paycheck and see the exchange, they'll really be disappointed.
They really want to go home. No shit.
Yep.
So the same kind of in that same realm of questions with actors and that whole other gig, Jim Carrey, Chris Farley, all those guys, comedy, move into actual acting. You had a starring role in Sure Shot Dombrowski. Is this correct? What's this?
Yeah,
I never heard of this.
Maybe we should have kept it that way. Why
no.
I'm just kidding. Man, it's like, you know what, like it's so bad. And you know when a movie is so bad, it's almost good, because like, holy man, this is so bad, it's kind of good. Sure Shot Dombrowski is actually so bad, but it's just so bad. Like it doesn't even get to the point where, oh, it's kind of good. No one can even stay awake. Like it's actually like melatonin. It's fucking bananas. Like if you're having trouble with insomnia, watch this. It's like, this is how bad it is. The guy, I never acted, and the guy came to my stand-up and saw me. He's like, yeah, well, that's the guy. We'll give him the leading role. The leading role, I've never acted. So the first few days on set, they'd be like, cut. And each time they said cut, I was just like, they're probably going to look at each other like, this guy can't act. What the fuck were we thinking? Like, and I was like, and they're like, okay.
Where was it filmed? Canada?
It was filmed in Edmonton, and then like little small town places. And it was a hockey movie. And like I said, I'm a goalie, terrible skater. So they just thought I played hockey. So the first day, so we do the first few days, we're not on ice, and then we go on the ice, and I don't have any gear. So they bring me gear, but it's a low-end Canadian movie. they go get to Value Village. So man, I'm in like I can barely skate. Never mind your 1982 CCM
Microns. Oh,
yeah,
I thought
they
they might
haven't
have
been
got your
sharpened.
microns.
Yeah. Gotta put my slipper on before I put it in the plastic boot,
Yeah.
And just these wood lumber sticks. And the guy goes, and then he, like, the guy making the movie doesn't know anything about it. So he brings in like a hockey guy to try to drop a play. And I'm sitting there barely standing on this stuff. Like, what is going on? He's like, okay, guys, we're going to do a 2-on-1. We're going to come across. We're going to pass over to, and then they'd always say your name, Sure Shot. And then Sure Shot. If you could take a slap shot.
I think that's your new name. I think that's a new nickname, Sure Shot. I like that.
Please not. Please not. And I look, I was like, fuck, man, I can't get a slap shot off the ice. Are you kidding me? So they got like a sponge puck to try to get it out. It was a gong show. It was so bad, man.
But it couldn't have been that bad, because what had happened with like Happy Madison looked at you, Jimmy Kimmel, like there's all this other stuff that you're leaving out.
That wasn't
like it's really bad, but I feel like
that wasn't because of that movie. That was because of Just for Laughs. Sure Shot was just it was bad. Like the Happy Madison thing, that was Just for Laughs when I first started. The thing is, I had more confidence, I think, when I first, like maybe after 2 years, because I got this one bit. And nowadays you don't do 7-minute sets, especially where I live. Like if you're living in LA and New York, every comic does like 7 minutes. So you go to a comedy night in New York or LA, there's 15 comics on a show and everyone does 7 minutes. So you can really polish this 7 minutes, the timing of it. It's boom, boom, boom. And kind of back when I was 2 years in, there's more comics. So I would be able to get this 7-minute set down. And then I got Just for Laughs. And your first Just for Laughs, you do a thing called the homegrown competition. And if you place top 2, you get more shows. So I placed top 2, got more shows. And then I got invited to like Best of the Fest. And I was like, holy shit, I was having a great festival. We had like Jimmy Kimmel guy kept coming to each show and loved it. We had Kimmel booked. We just had to get video for Kimmel. And then we had Happy Madison guys loved it. We had Universal. But I was too young and stupid. I just thought everyone was getting things at Just for Laughs. I was like, oh, this is what Just for Laughs is. Everyone's got deals going on, which it's not like that, but I just had this great Just for Laughs. But I was so stupid. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. Didn't really do anything with it. So all we had to do for Kimmel was send him a video, and I never watch any of my stuff. So from Montreal, I went straight to New York, and he wanted this certain joke, and it felt like I was forcing that joke. Like each night you can go in and you're like, this one night wasn't like a busy night. It was like, that joke is a high energy joke. It feels like it won't do good. And I recorded it, and that's exactly what happened. It's a low energy Wednesday crowd, and I'm bringing this high energy fish joke, and it's kind of like, nah. So I never sent it. I do another one, wouldn't send it. So I just never sent Kimmel this video, and I had Kimmel booked and never did it like that. I think there was something about on your thing was what's your biggest loss or regret? That number one, hands down, number one thing was never sent Kimmel that fucking video. And then even with the Happy Madison guys, that I just never really followed up and pitted in LA. Like I went to LA and we had things going on. And when things are happening in LA, it's the most exciting place in the world. And then when things aren't, so we thought we had a movie, boom, fell through. And now I'm just in LA. And I know I'm not going to be there for like a year or two to get my feet wet. I know I'm only there for a month. So then it was just like 2.5 weeks of going to a comedy club, not getting on. And when you're not getting on, it's fucking brutal, especially when you're seeing comics like, well, I'm better than that guy. And you're like, yeah. I couldn't even go to club. Like it's just disheartening. And you're like, oh, this sucks, man.
Because you kids at home too, probably, right? You had kids at home. Yeah,
that's the thing. If I was a single guy, I would pit in. I would pit in LA or New York, but I had a kid right from the get-go. And at that point, I remember I had 2. So it was like, the longer I'm staying there, the more money I'm spending, not bringing it, because you're not making any money while you're in LA or New York. So it was like, oh, it's like when I went there, I had to hit a home run, and we thought we had the home run, but it's funny because I went to the last casting call, and the casting director said, I think you got the role. The director's going to sit in on the last one. So the director sat in on the last one. It's like, I did this audition, left, and then I was waiting for my manager to call, and then my manager called. It's like, oh, thinking we got this movie. I was like, yeah, can we get it? He's like, yeah, the director sat in on that last one. He said you sounded overboard, stupid Canadian.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck, no way, man. Can't believe it. No way. So then I thought I was getting this movie. I had this other pilot thing I was going on to. And then that was like the day after I thought I was getting a movie. And then the other one was a sitcom. And I was like, holy, I'm getting a movie, I got a sitcom. And the description of the guy was a tall, lanky, skinny guy. And like, I'm top heavy, bulky. I was like, holy fuck, I'm gonna have to cut weight for this one. And it's like, and then the day as I go for that audition, they got my headshot and they just canceled my audition. So I was like, oh, I thought I had
one look and that was enough.
I was in a sitcom and now I'm at the back of a comedy club. I can't even get on. Just brutal. Went from thinking I'm making the Pats to play to the NHL, think I'm in the movies, to right back in roster and slinging gigs. I think that was my first gig back in Roston after it didn't go good either.
Well, they wouldn't have a sense of humor there in Rostron, would they?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Not your fault. Not your fault.
What about we'll get into the bull riding side of it. Your son, Rook, huge bull riding fan. You come out to all the events. The one that we have, the Clooney Cooper Memorial in Prince Albert. I've seen you at a few different ones, also the ones that we've done at my house. How did you kind of get hooked up on that whole gig, and what kind of intrigues you about the sport?
Oh, it's see, like unlike stand-up, like I said, like how I don't watch a lot of stand-up, because when I watch stand-up, it doesn't give me, there's like Dave Chappelle is like the Connor McDavid of stand-up. So when he talks and does things, how Connor McDavid skates and that, it just looks so effortless and so good. Like he's so good. I can watch him like that. But besides that, when I watch stand-up, to me, it's just like, okay, this guy's a very good writer. This is good. That's good. But it's something I can do. So it doesn't give me that wow factor. Whereas bull riding and like NHL, when I still go to an NHL game, I still become a 12-year-old kid. Like I get excited all the time.
Yeah, me too.
But bull riding is the one thing where I just like, like I know I can't do it. Like I get in there and the electricity, and I just start fucking. I was like, look at these motherfuckers getting on this thing. I love it. Like I absolutely love it. I love the adrenaline I get. I like getting down close to the pen. I like seeing the bulls. And my boy, you don't know. You have kids and you don't know which one's going to be like you. Like, so I got my oldest boy. He's got like this sports aspect of me, and then Rook's got this adventure side where I was like, is he really gonna? Like he loves bull riding so much. And then, so wasn't this summer, it was the one before. We took him out to like the little mini ones where you get to ride a sheep, ride a pony, rip up the goat. And I was like, okay, let's see really how you are. Cause you know, when kids get excited, like I remember my boys, like they're all excited and they want to get out and they skate for the first time. They got their skates on the house. Then you get on the ice and they can't skate because they think they just can skate, and they walk and then they fucking hate it. And like, okay.
Yeah.
But when we took them, because now it's all these little kids that you think, oh, they like it, but they're all lined up and they're all scared. Like they're all, oh, I don't know if I want to do it. Yeah. And I watch my boy and I look at him and he is like dead zoned in. Like, oh my God, like I finally get to do this. Like that's all he did. Because he played baseball and lacrosse and he kept bitching. He didn't want to go. He was like, I want to ride something. That's all he said. I want to ride something. And then his very final ball game of the year, he gets in the car, takes off his gloves. He's like, that's the last one of the year, Dad? So yeah. He goes, okay, good. So next year I'm done. I don't have to do this. We can ride something. I was like, okay, yeah, we're done. If you want to do that, let's do it. And then you're like, you don't know what it's going to be like. And then we went to the first one and like literally licking his chops to get on these things. And it was funny. Like he dominated each one. And then they brought out one pony that the guy couldn't really, this fucking one it was bigger than the rest. He was getting they couldn't contain him. And then the one guy's like, get that thing out of here. Someone will get injured. And the kids like stayed away. And my boy like walks, you know, when you're in hockey and you got to skate against someone and you switch lines, can you go against the slow kid or something?
Yeah, I know. Fuck yeah.
He's like, I hate it that I just admitted that, but
my career. Yeah.
I'll skate against the goalie. Yeah. So he's like literally jimmying himself like 4 lines over to get that fucking pony that no one could go. And he loved it. And then the little guy followed along with him too. Oh, and nice. Then when it got to the goat tipping, my little guy wouldn't go. And I was like, buddy, you just rode your pony. You just rode like, this is the easiest part. And then after we I couldn't figure out why. And he finally did the goat tipping. We get him in. And then my oldest boy, Rook, comes up and says, you know why Tripp didn't want to do that? I was like, what? He was scared of hurting that goat. But he almost cried. Like he had like tears welling up. I was like, I don't want to hurt that goat, but yeah, I'll ride that sheep in that.
Oh, that's good.
I still have the memory at Tanner's this summer, and Tanner did a great job at the social distancing. We had the 10 tables and the distance from the fence for safety. Rook just grabs a chair and he is sitting dead center, about 3 feet by himself, just sitting there, arms crossed, taking her all in.
Fucking
he
loved it. Yeah.
wasn't gonna miss one thing, not one thing.
That you think that jersey gets dirty after a night of bull riding? That you should see how that jersey every day. Like, so we have a riding ring now too. Like, I mean, wake up, I'm having coffee. It's like, where's the boys? They're in the ring, like, and he's got the jersey on, like fake riding bulls and doing all this. And like his school picture, he's got that jersey on. Like the first week of school, we had to like have an intervention. Like, but I think you don't usually get scared, baby. And he's got this. It's cool how he nothing bothers him if he's dressed up or does anything. Like he'll go full cowboy into any function, and you're like, you start getting 10. You're like, are you sure you want to go full cowboy here? We're going to the water slide. We're going to the water slide. You know, like, that jersey was everywhere, man. Still, and he just loves it, and I love it. And it's like, it's one of those things like, holy shit, is he gonna do this? But he gets into things and loves it too. So I know Mom is scared. And
get him some fucking golf clubs.
That's for the oldest
tennis racket.
Yeah, I don't think he might, because he's into adventure, so he might be my hiking canoe partner. But if he wants to do it, I'm not gonna stop. But fuck, you guys are tough, man. Like, there's no way you're not getting injured. Your injury list is insanity. So.
No fun. What about you now? Farm life, like you said, you guys are always outdoors, adventuring. Is that something that you always want to do? Get out of the city and kind of live that? Because you like that cowboy life as much as Todd and stuff does too.
I just wish I wasn't an idiot and knew more about it. So now, you know, when you live on an acreage, everyone just thinks you know cowboy stuff, and I know nothing. Like, like even the horses, if they get out, I got to get my 10-year-old. Like, hey, Rook, the horse got out. I don't know how you get a horse back in. Like, I'd haul all the bales, I'll do all that, but like I could help fix a little fence. But I'm an idiot at everything. And it's one of those things. Like, I never, when I was younger, envisioned living on an acre. It's just one of those things. You know, from when you're 20 to you're 30, how much you change. From your 30 to 40, you change. Like, I knew I liked being outdoors and all that. And then it got to the point where I was like, oh man, my kids love being outside. You'd have all this room. And then it just kind of started, you know, building on me. It's like, man, how awesome would it be to just be on an acreage, rip around, do anything. And now that's what we have. And like, literally each time I get off a highway and you hit that dirt road and you're going to your house, it's just like, oh fuck, man.
Yeah, breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Or having like coffee in the morning where the sun hits the one side of a deck and you're like, and you just sit there and it's like the one thing where I pinch myself was like, holy fuck, are we lucky? And then as the day goes, we like literally chase the sun to one side of the house on there, and then at the end of the night you're at the other side of the deck and you're like, and it doesn't get old to me. I just like, I can't believe out of anything I've got or did or just anything, acreage life is like, I never knew I'd ever be able to do. I never knew I'd ever have an opportunity to get. I might be losing it here if COVID goes any longer. I'll be living in my shop. I'll tell you that. But it's unreal. Like and then when you go to someone's house, like, look how close this other person's house is. Like, oh man, that'd be brutal. They're right on top of you. Like, I mean, just you can like not COVID, but like you can have a big fire. People are all over the place. Now we got like I never skidooed when I was a kid once. Now you know you have a skidoo. You even got like a little tracker. You got kids cross country ski. You got people skating. You got man. And we had a family reunion out here. And my dad's a big horse guy. Father-in-law's big huge horse guy. So horse riding's going on. This is going on. People are over there having beers. And that's why I just love it. Love it.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Clear throat. Hey, okay. We don't want to go too long with you and keep all your day up, but I need the story. Have you ever ripped your nutsack before?
Holy shit. Okay. Yeah. June 7th, 2011, I think.
5:45 a.m.
Hey, man, you know what? You're pretty close. That's crazy.
Oh, that's good.
And the reason I would know that because I think I'd have to look, but I think that's it. It's Boston Bruins win the Stanley Cup against Vancouver, Game 7. So a little backdrop to the story is I'm doing a comedy festival in Saskatoon, Okay, so right there, if you're doing a comedy festival in Saskatoon, it's not a very big comedy festival because it's in Saskatoon. And if you're doing a low budget comedy festival, it's almost like starting out in PBR, eh? Like you're doing the low end circuit, you don't get a hotel, like you're bunking with someone. So you don't even get a hotel. So now I'm bunking at a comic's house, and he's a comic. So he's split up with his wife, and he doesn't have his kid there that weekend.
So automatically he's divorced.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, we stay in his kid's room, and his kid has a bunk bed. And the other comic that I'm sharing this room with is about 260. So I get top bunk. And we give her till about 2 or 3 in the morning. And I got an early flight to Thunder Bay. I'm doing this sports celebrity dinner. I fly out to Thunder Bay in the morning, but I don't actually do the show that night. I meet with the committee, and we have this supper, and then I do the show the next night. So I get up. I got to get up at it's like that, like 5 in the morning. I got like a 7 a.m. flight. Yep. You might know the exact time I rip my nutsack. So when you've been giving her a hardcore, you don't even feel like getting out of bed. Never mind getting out of a bunk bed with a couple hours sleep. So I wake up. I was like, holy shit, that was a stupid idea. Drink until 3. So, and then did you guys know this? Bunk bed ladders made for children. So the ladder's like this narrow, so I can't fit down it. But I don't want to jump off the top of this bunk bed. So what I go to do is I put one foot like on the rung to like try to just slide down the ladder a little bit, so I don't have to jump off and I don't have to fall like a 1.5 feet or 2 feet. So my eyes are like half closed. I'm barely awake. So I just put my foot on this rung and I just go to like gingerly slide down the ladder. But instead of, I don't want to jump over it and then I'd be too high. So I just kind of slide over, but the top pole catches my nutsack. And when I go to push off, I went from like barely awake to like literally hanging in the air, like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, like floating, like my chest is hanging parallel to the ground. And the nutsack skin is like through my ass crack hanging on the top of this pole. And I was like, oh my God, like from barely awake to like my eyes are bulging out of my head, just floating, looking at this fucking carpet. And I have to like jimmy myself off. And the first time I go to jimmy, I don't get my skin up enough, so it tears a little bit more. Oh, I think my back hit the ceiling when I hit the ceiling, fall to the floor. And the other comic wakes up, hey man, what's going on? You fall in a bunk? Oh man. And you know what? Like in PBR, like if you get injured bad enough, it's not the immediate pain. It's more of in your head. Like if you look at something, you're like, oh fuck, this isn't good. Like the pain wasn't there. It was more like
you're in shock.
And I just sat there and I was like, oh fuck, there's no way there's not damage because I was just hanging in midair. So the buddy's like, what's wrong? Did you fall? Are you hurt? And I wasn't talking. And then I was like, well, I got to check. So I put my hand down my underwear and then I look up and it's just a mid of blood. I was like, oh, fuck. Oh. So I got this and I was like, oh, he's like, oh man, you need to go to the hospital. And then the other comic who owns the house, so he goes on stage that night and obviously he tells the story that I'm somewhere else tell the story. Guy at bottom bug tell. So everyone's telling the story the next few nights of this festival. But either way, so I go to the bathroom and I was like, holy shit. And so this comic wakes up. I was like, I got to see what these idiots are talking about now. And I goes like, wow, man. I was like, I can't go to the hospital because I got to catch this flight right now. Like I'm close to not making it right now. So I was scared of it like drying up and like sticking to my underwear and not being able to get it off. So I grabbed a bunch of Vaseline and just vassed up my sack. Went to the airport, get there, and I was like, holy man. And so then I land.
Oh, you Thunder fucking Bay. Flew like that.
Oh yeah, went to Toronto, had like a 4-hour layover, went to Thunder Bay, and then I landed. The committee picks me up, and it's not like right when I got off the plane, I'd be like, "Hey guys, hey, nice to meet you. Hey, can we go to the hospital? I ripped my nutsack about 9 hours ago." So I don't say anything. So I just kind of like meet them. I was like, "Oh yeah." So then plus I was thinking, so this is game 7, so the cup is going tonight for sure. Like it's not game 4, it's not game 5 or 6 where it might go. It's going 100%. I was like, I don't want to be sitting in some ER side thing missing on the game, whatever. I've already went 9 hours. I'm sure I'll figure this out later. So I go have this supper. We ended up actually going to like a club that night on the D floor. And I was like, okay, enough's enough. And then I tell these guys, I was like, hey guys, do you mind if we go swing by the hospital in the morning? I said, I ripped my nutsack. And as soon as I said it, the 2 guys off the committee, like, told you walk weird. Because I was just on my tiptoes, just gingerly, like, hi. So we wake up in the morning, and these guys were unreal. Like, I didn't even go to the hotel that night. Passed out of this guy's house. Wake up, and he wanted to go for drinks in the morning. It was so early. I don't know if it was like 8:45. We couldn't get a beer, so we went to a Greek establishment because they're allowed to serve ouzo or something. So now we're doing shots at 9. I still got a show that night. These guys were unreal. So we do this, and at breakfast, this guy comes. I think I'm meeting another guy from the committee, but he's a doctor, and he's like, I heard you ripped your nutsack, or how long's the laceration? I was like, the laceration? I was like, oh, well, I didn't measure, but I got pictures, because, you know, all your buddies like, send some pics. I got it. If anyone's got a BlackBerry charger, I can get those old pictures going. I need to sell t-shirts to save my house.
Yeah, no shit. Sold your nutsack.
So then next thing you know, he's like, here's prescription for some antibiotics just so you don't get infected. He gives me that. I do the show that night, fly back to Saskatoon. I was like, okay, I should probably go to the doctor now. But when we fly back, the big part of this comedy festival was the one day you got all you could drink and eat at the cave. So it was like right as I landed, I was like, oh, that's the fucking best part of this festival. I gotta go straight to the cave. So then we started guzzling there, and then I didn't want to go to the hospital again. And then the next day we had this other meal. It's hard to tell people that you were on a bender. That's why you never got your nuts checked. So about 6 days later, I get back to PA, and then I go to the doctor, and I was like, hey, rip my nuts. I said, ooh, you just ripped it. He goes, so when did you do that? And I was like, oh, when did the Bruins win the cup? And he's like, what? What are you talking? So yeah, I think it was like 6 days ago. He's like, you fucking... He didn't say fucking, but he's like, what? And then he looks, and he's like, oh my God. He goes, well, it started to heal because it's 6 days. And he goes, you got 2 options. He goes, you can leave it like this, like it started to heal, but it'll probably be uncomfortable for a couple more weeks. Or he goes, or I could get the scalpel out, scrape it out. And right as he said that, like the hairs on my arm were standing up. I was like, ah. He goes, then we can scrape it out and then sew it up. And I was like, oh. And he goes, then you should be good in 2 or 3 days. And I said, okay, let's do that bad boy. So then he zippered me up, and PA small town, so you go to the doctors. He starts laughing. And I was like, oh, you've never sewn someone's ball sack up before? And he's like, no, I have. I've never seen anyone shin sweat so much. Like that tissue paper underneath was just absolutely soaked and just gone.
That's good. That's gold. Yeah, that's funny. No fucks given. I like it. Okay. Kelly, Scott has a good question that we ask everybody on the show that he's going to give to you.
Well,
okay.
First of all, Kelly, it's great you're a Saskatchewan boy, true to the province, great sense of humor, man. It's been awesome.
Scotty, look at that. I got the tattoo.
Nice.
Nice.
For our listeners, it looks like the Sask wheat stalk or whatever, but I showed someone right after, because everywhere I go, they're like, you're that Sask comic. So I got to get something Sask. So I went and got that. First person I showed, they're like, hey, did you get the Sask liquor board tattoo? It is. It's the same thing.
Lifetime member, motherfucker.
Man, we all might have to go get one of those just so we can be part of the team.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good one.
Anyways, very honored. I got to see you live a couple times. My kids, they just kind of want to hang out with you because, man, you got a great sense of humor and make us all laugh, and that's good. Question is, this is the NFP podcast. We all know what our take on NFP is. What is yours?
Oh man, absolutely. I've got a few hats in that. We've had fights over who's wearing which hat, but really, to me, it's almost like you just actually you get the job done. There's no excuses. There's none of this bitching. There's like a fourth line mucker. Like just you're injured and you play through shit, and it's just if you're not that kind of person, you're in the fucking way. It's like that's why I like hiking and just I like that hardcore shit where you're uncomfortable, but you don't complain about it. It's that you do something and you don't complain about it. Maybe it's maybe you did drink hard last night. And now you're fencing for 8 hours, but you're not complaining about it. And then when you sit down and have that drink after, fuck, is that drink a lot better than when you did?
Yeah. Isn't that true?
That's what it is right there. It's absolutely grinding without any complaining. And usually people try to be around those people. That's like I said, hiking. 90% of hiking sucks ass. Like, you're like, why do you like doing that? I was like, I don't know. It's probably the best part of hiking to me is putting on your pack and taking your pack off. Like, that's the two best things. I imagine it'd be the same in PBR. Like, the fucking most exciting thing would be getting on that bull, the adrenaline, and then the adrenaline of that getting off that fucking bull and sitting. And the beauty of you guys when I see you at Tanner's house and the boys are all sitting having beers, and I just, because like it's on such another level. It's so much more than a hockey game what you guys put yourself through. So it's just one of these things I can't like. I looked at everyone and I'm just all fired up. I was like, fuck, man, how good would that beer be? Like, it just, and then you know what they all said? And they're like, buddy, it ain't the beer, it's the nicotine. And they're all just power darting. You see the drags, bull riders take, and you just see that cherry suck back to about halfway. And I was like, oh, right on. It's bull riders. I always go military. Military is always first. Like, I always talk about like the beer they must have after coming back from going overseas is just, that's what it is. No, NP is just those guys, the fucking guys and women that get that shit done and then can sit back and hopefully enjoy everything because you put in all the work.
Yeah, and it's obviously, like you guys know too, there's Ty Murray's been quoted as saying it a bunch of times, but there's sports where it's winning and losing. But same military bull riding, there's also the aspect of living and dying every time that you tie your hand to that thing or every time you go out on a mission. So it is a different sport, right? Big time.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kelly, what's doing now? I know COVID's kind of shut down. You got your podcast going. Tickle Side of Tats. Everybody can check that out.
Probably just put this episode on it. Not gonna lie.
There we go. Double down.
I've got so many guests lined up, and I'm so bad at this. Like, if I don't have a gig where it says I have to be there at 9:00, do the show, then I get paid. But it's the podcast. You know, I can do it at this time, or I'm brutal, and that I gotta get on it, man. I've done 5 podcasts that haven't been my own since I've done my last episode. So I'm a real piece of shit that way. I gotta get on it because I love doing it. Like, this is what we do. What do? An hour of laughing, and then I procrastinate on this. Why? What a loser I am. I'm such an idiot.
I gotta wipe the tears off from that ball sack story. That was I didn't know that one was coming. I hadn't heard that.
And also your Zoom gigs, right? You've been doing. You can get hired if anybody needs. That's
pimping myself out on the Zoom. So, and it's anything now because a lot of people can't. I'm doing lots of teaching functions right now, just because teachers I know are going through a shitstorm through in COVID, and they just need a laugh. So, and I got my teaching degree, so I can. It's almost like. And the nice thing is too, if you ever do a thing, Tanner, and if it says speaker and not comedian.
Yeah,
money's always better when you're a speaker. So I can be a speaker for your company. You know, the company needs a laugh or something. Oh man, I learned that one years ago where someone's like, "Oh, our speaker canceled, and then we had this for a budget." And I was like, "Whoa, yeah, I can fill that in." So now I might not be a comedian anymore. I'm Kelly Taylor, speaker of
the house.
So I can speak to your company to lift up the spirits of your company, whatever it is. I'm doing accounting firms, I'm doing Suma function, I'm doing all these Zoom things, and you know what, I don't need the feedback of I like COVID. When it's done is going to be awesome and we're going to go back and love it, but now that it's Zoom time, I just say, you know, I can look at the positives. I can be at home and I'm going to enjoy that, and then hopefully just get enough Zoom gigs to just pay my mortgage and then hopefully
get you by. I hear you. Yeah. Okay, well, that's
all with you.
I think well, once it opens up a little bit enough to get back to at least 150 people like we had last summer, I want to plan to do more events right at the house here with the boys here, Jason and Scott, obviously, and we'd love to have you out again. It might be a little bit fun this time, Scott, to maybe have Kelly as the co-announcer of the event.
Well, that's
100%.
Tanner and I were talking. He was planning on doing one mid-December, just before Christmas, and he's like, "Well, what do you want to do? Co-announcer, do you want one or not?" And I said, "Yeah, I want Kelly Taylor, so it's going to be you and me, pal."
let's not take away from how bad I am at that part. Make me the co-announcer. Don't give me too much responsibility.
Hey, no, you'll be the co-speaker. You're the co-speaker.
Well, I'm gonna one up both these guys here, Kelly, because I already run this by Rusty. When we get back in the Art Hauser and we can do our events in front of some people, I told him we need to get you out on the stage in the arena. Instead of
Okay.
sitting in the stands, you're coming out. You're going to be our guy. You're going to be our comedian, funny guy out there.
Okay, as long as Rusty's got his good cologne on, I'm in then. Man, he smells like $1,000,000. God, I love being around that guy.
Oh, that's good. Okay, well, we took up enough of your time for today. I know everybody's gonna really enjoy this one. Like Jason said, we had fucking tears running down our eyes the whole time. So we appreciate you being on the NFP podcast presented by 3D Entertainment.
Thank you, boys. All the best. Hopefully, can't wait to see you guys
Thanks,
have a
Kelly.
beer and watch some Bulls. Okay.
All right. Take care, Kelly.
Take
Bye.
care. See you, boys. Bye.